Do you guys remember the market crash of 2008? It was happening in the middle of the presidential transition from George Bush to Barack Obama. If I remember correctly, both Bush and Obama, they passed these massive stimulus packages. Majority of that money went to the big banks. These banks have been making poor business decisions for years, loaning hundreds of thousands of dollars to people so they could achieve the American dream of owning their own home. Problem was, a lot of these people didn't have the resources to pay the money back. When politicians tried to justify giving billions of taxpayer dollars to major corporate banks, they told the American public that these banks were too big to fail. If these banks crash, it's going to cause widespread suffering. We don't want the peasants to suffer, unless of course we can capitalize on it, so we're going to bail out corporate America. Too big to fail. Too big to fail. That's all we heard for a couple of years. That notion is bullshit. Nothing's too big to fail. Matter of fact, the bigger something is, the harder they fall. Today, we're going to do a follow-up on a video that I made last summer. Last summer, I made a video about the decline of ESPN. In the closing minutes of that video, I told you guys in 10 years, there is a real possibility ESPN ceases to exist. There's no way that will happen. ESPN's too big to fail. Oh, it can happen. Not only is it possible, it's likely to happen. ESPN's in deep shit. The network is struggling, and they're struggling for a variety of reasons. Some of it has to do with their incessant promotion of Cucumber Love. Some of it has to do with who they share a bed with when making Cucumber Love, and some of it has to do with the sheer lack of talent at the network. Besides Stephen A. Smith, who is the last homegrown star at ESPN? I have never seen their talent bench this depleted. ESPN's coverage of the NFL and the NBA, it's absolute shit. It's garbage. Mina fucking Kimes is an NFL analyst. Someone who's never stepped on an NFL field unless she was wearing high heels and a woke hat. Flagship shows like Woke Take, PTI, they've experienced steep ratings declines. Around the Horn used to be an extremely popular show. It used to feature big-name journalists people cared about. Now it features no-name shitfucks like Sarah, I Wish She Lived in Spain, and the show regularly struggles to draw 300,000 viewers. We often talk here on the channel about ESPN's promotion of women's sports. They promote dumps like the WNBA for a couple of reasons. One, they want to make sure they continue to receive their invitation to butt bongo parties. But two, ESPN needs women's sports to succeed. They need you watching the WNBA, women's college basketball. Why? Because it's just about all they have left to rely on. It was announced the other day that ESPN lost their bid for NFL Sunday Ticket to Apple. It's being reported Apple's paying $3 billion for it. Also being reported that ESPN's bid was disrespectfully low. They were going to include NFL Sunday Ticket on ESPN Plus, which is struggling so bad, they just had a 43% rate increase. KC, ESPN Plus is not struggling. They have over 22 million subscribers. Oh yeah? How many of those subscribers are strictly subscribed for ESPN? Disney bundles their customers across Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. So we have no idea how many people are subscribed strictly for ESPN. When streaming services increase their rates without adding content for justification, the rates are usually going up because they're not as profitable as they want to be. Losing NFL Sunday Ticket is a massive blow to ESPN, and I'm about to show you why. For decades, ESPN's been the most expensive network on television. Most channels charge cable and satellite providers $2, $3, $4 per customer. ESPN charges $10. Historically, they've been able to justify that rate because they delivered live sports programming, which delivered big ratings. People were willing to pay to keep ESPN included in their cable package. 16 years ago, ESPN made a mistake by allowing NBC to obtain the broadcast rights for NFL Sunday Night Football. 2 years ago, when the rights were up for renewal, the NFL once again went with NBC instead of ESPN. Why? Now, obviously, money was a factor, but I also think ESPN's lack of talent was a factor. Like I said a second ago, ESPN's coverage of the NFL is shit. It's garbage. It's the reason they went out this offseason and broke the bank for Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. They are trying to raise the profile of Monday Night Football, which has struggled since it moved to ESPN. Have you guys ever noticed? The NFL gives ESPN the scraps for Monday Night Football. They give NBC huge games. They give NBC the ability to flex games on Sunday night. ESPN, they just get stuck with their allotment of mostly shitty games for Monday Night Football. But let me show you something. This graph shows the most watched television programs through June. Look at the networks that are dominating and look at the reason why. 14 of the top 15, NFL football. When ESPN lost the rights to Sunday Night Football in 2006, they decided to go all in with college football and the NBA. ESPN likes college football, but they love the NBA. It is wall-to-wall NBA coverage 12 months out of the year. My inside sources tell me Stephen A. Adam Silver, they tag team the woke cucumber while Max Kellerman films for their OnlyFans audience. But look at this. How many NBA games do you see on this list? ESPN pays billions every year in broadcast rights for the NBA playoffs, NBA finals. They air the biggest games on ABC, free television. How many NBA games do you see on the list? Clear to me, ESPN is married to the wrong league. Now look at this from the NFL's perspective for a second. If you're Roger Goodell, why would you want to partner with ESPN? Not only does their coverage of your league suck, they actively tried to tarnish the league's reputation. I guarantee you, before the start of the NFL regular season, Stephen A. Smith will go on Woke Take and rant about the lack of black head coaches throughout the league. They will claim the NFL is racist. This league profits off the backs of black men. Let's get to one of the biggest reasons, though, for the expedited decline of ESPN. Their love of the woke cucumber, their innate ability to be on the wrong side of every issue, the decision they made over 2 years ago to become baptized and born again. Just like it does with everything it infects, the woke fungus has destroyed the brand and reputation of ESPN. The network lost 8 million cable and satellite subscribers last year. On average, ESPN loses 22,000 customers every day. In terms of money, that's an annual loss of $1 billion. That is not sustainable. In order to offset the blatant wokeism, you got to offer people something they can't go without watching. Right now, the only entity that's proven to be damn near immune to the woke fungus is the NFL, which ESPN doesn't have outside Monday Night Football. The NFL's semi-woke, they flirt with social justice, kind of like the hot blonde flirts with the fat guy at the bar to get free drinks. But one thing the NFL's proven, and they proved this even through the kneeling for the national anthem, no matter what the NFL does, most people will continue watching. Yes, ratings dropped. I think it was 20% in 2016 when Colin Kaepernick assumed the position of fellatio during the national anthem. But the NFL during the regular season, they were still drawing 15, 16 million people. The Super Bowl that year, 111 million viewers. The product is so superior to anything else on television that a lot of people are willing to overlook the bullshit to keep watching it. I put together a montage for you of the bullshit that ESPN has presented just in the last couple of months. This is supposedly the worldwide leader in sports. Check out all of this sports-related content.
But today, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, declaring that the constitutional right to abortion, upheld for nearly a half century, no longer exists. In less than 24 hours, we celebrated equal rights for women, and now we react to women's reproductive rights being taken away.
Kevin Durant is too aware and too plugged in to say something that impertinent. What's the point of that? Want some attention? You want to call out somebody? Call out your teammate. Tell him to get a shot. Because he's got plenty of them, because he couldn't go to grade school in metropolitan New York without vaccines. I mean, all these guys want to be so irresponsible and not accountable enough to look at this dude and tell him, you want to play with us? Put a shot in your arm. The vaccine is not about attention. People died, hundreds of thousands of them, from this virus.
I want the dads watching to ask themselves a really honest question right now, and I mean that. How does the sentiment of being a girl dad evolve beyond superficial social media posts into actual advocacy? Are you carrying that same pride for your daughters into boardrooms, locker rooms, courtrooms? Are you doing everything in your power to protect their rights? Do you trust them to make difficult decisions for themselves and their bodies? Should they be given full agency over their own lives? Can you confidently state to the women in your lives that you've used your power and privilege as men for their betterment? That you've done all you can to ensure that at the very least, they'll have the same rights afforded to decades of women before them?
I could have kept the examples going for another 15 or 20 minutes, just pulling them out of my video files on my computer. But what does ESPN have to offer to offset that bullshit? What programming do they have that will at least make people think about tuning into ESPN, even though the network doesn't represent them politically? March Madness belongs to CBS and Turner. NFL belongs to Fox, CBS, NBC, signing deals with streaming services. Major League Baseball is being featured less prominently on ESPN than ever before. CBS airs the majors in golf. The most valuable asset that ESPN has is the college football playoff, and that lasts for, 2 days? The NBA, they continue to dig their own grave. They'll be buried right next to their lovers at ESPN in the graveyard. What else does ESPN have to offer paying customers? UFC? I mean, I like UFC, but outside of 1 or 2 big fights every year, I'm not willing to pay for ESPN Plus just to watch UFC. What else do they have? The fucking WNBA? Nothing draws people to their television like live footage from the dump. The NHL? I mean, the NHL's great. I have nothing against the league, but hockey's a niche sport. The playoffs, the Stanley Cup finals, they performed great this year in the ratings, but can you really rely on the NHL to carry your entire network? This is why I told you in the beginning, ESPN needs women's sports to succeed. They need another revenue driver. They need something to draw an audience. ESPN has seen this free fall coming. They thought launching their own streaming platform would save them. It didn't. Their deal with the NBA is up for renewal in 3 years. According to CNBC, the NBA, they're going to demand $75 billion between ESPN and TNT, which would be around $7 billion per year. Now, this is going to be a tough situation for ESPN. It might be a lose-lose situation. If NBA ratings remain in the pooper, can you justify paying them billions of dollars and risk losing money on the deal? And then on the other hand, the NBA is essentially the only thing left propping up the network. It could be a situation where you can't afford to keep them and you can't afford to lose them. I'm standing by what I said last year. Over the next 10 years, ESPN as we know it will cease to exist. But let me know what you think. Is ESPN too big to fail? Am I completely off base here? And besides the NFL, what else could save the network? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.